Imagine tomorrow morning, all 8 billion people on Earth wake up, stretch their arms, and collectively make a very responsible, very mature decision. They decide to completely stop buying things they don't absolutely need. No more mindless shopping, just pure financial discipline. No more upgrading to the newest smartphones. No more $6 artisanal lattes. No more fast fashion. Everyone simply saves their cash for a rainy day. On the surface, this sounds like a utopia of financial responsibility, doesn't it? A peaceful, Zen-like world entirely free of the toxic grip of mindless consumerism. Well, unfortunately, no. In reality, this sudden, synchronized burst of extreme financial responsibility would be a complete disaster. It would trigger a catastrophic apocalypse that would destroy the global economy faster and more thoroughly than a giant meteor striking the planet. You see, our entire modern civilization is built upon a single, incredibly fragile and slightly ridiculous premise. We constantly and endlessly exchange pieces of colorful paper or digital numbers on a glowing screen for real-world goods and services. When you suddenly stop playing that game, the gears of the global machine don't just slow down gently, they violently and spectacularly grind to a halt. To understand why saving the world actually means you sometimes have to go out and buy that stupid overpriced plastic toy, we need to zoom in and follow the miserable life of a single, highly stressed and deeply exhausted $10 bill. Because in the bizarre world of macroeconomics, things that seem incredibly logical and smart on an individual personal level can quickly mutate into absolute, unmitigated nightmares when every single person decides to do them at the exact same time. It is a terrifying mathematical trap that economists have known about for almost a century, waiting to spring on overly thrifty societies. And this phenomenon has a very specific, highly accurate, and slightly ironic name in the textbooks. Let's find out what it is. Welcome to the paradox of thrift, a concept that proves that what is good for you is terrible for everyone else. Before we break the world, let's look at how it's supposed to work. In a healthy economy, money is exactly like blood. It has to keep moving constantly to keep the organism alive. And to see this, meet Tenny. Tenny is a standard $10 bill. Right now, he is fresh out of the ATM and living comfortably in Bob's wallet. Day is a good day. Bob decides to use Tenny to buy his morning coffee. He hands Tenny over to the barista. She is exhausted, but happily takes him. Now, Tenny doesn't just sit in the cafe's cash register forever. He has a job to do. The cafe owner takes Tenny and uses him to pay the farmer for the coffee beans. The farmer takes Tenny. He's happy because he has income to maintain his business. In fact, his tractor just broke down. So he uses Tenny to pay a mechanic. The mechanic takes Tenny, fixes the tractor, and earns his livelihood. But the mechanic needs new software, so he buys it online from Bob's tech company. Tenny flies right back into Bob's paycheck. This is the circular flow of income. Your spending is someone else's income, and it works perfectly. Till suddenly, everyone gets scared and it completely stops. Let's rewind to our apocalypse scenario. Bob reads some bad news on the internet and gets scared. He decides to skip the coffee and keeps Tenny locked firmly in his wallet. Very smart move for Bob. He is building his emergency fund and acting responsibly. But inside that dark wallet, Tenny is now trapped, freezing, and completely useless to the world. Meanwhile, down at the local cafe, things are getting very, very quiet. The barista is staring at the clock. Because Bob stayed home, the cafe doesn't get his $10. Losing revenue, the cafe owner is forced to cut costs, immediately canceling the order for new coffee beans. The farmer, now suddenly poorer and lacking expected income, realizes he has a major problem. He can no longer afford to fix his broken tractor. He has to tell the mechanic. The mechanic, having lost his crucial income, is devastated. He also has to make cuts. Goes online and cancels his expensive software subscription. This sends a shockwave up the chain, because that software company is exactly where our highly responsible friend Bob currently works. Bob's company, losing customers and revenue, decides they need to urgently restructure to survive. And unfortunately for Bob, restructuring is just a fancy corporate word for firing Bob. Bob's attempt to protect himself from a bad economy is exactly what caused it. He saved $10 but lost his salary. Now take Bob's individual tragedy and multiply it by 8 billion. When an entire society tries to save more and consume less all at the exact same time, total aggregate demand plummets. Suddenly, nobody is buying anything. Warehouses quickly fill up with unsold televisions, cars, and clothes gathering dust. Businesses begin to panic. To get people to buy things, they desperately slash prices. Welcome to the terrifying world of the deflation spiral. Things getting cheaper sounds absolutely great for the consumer, right? Wrong. If you know a television will be cheaper next month, you won't buy it today. You decide to wait. Because waiting literally makes your money more valuable. But because everyone waits, businesses make zero sales. The economy grinds to an absolute halt. Factories are forced to close their doors permanently. Millions of people lose their jobs, which makes them want to save even more. The money supply becomes completely paralyzed. Our friend Tenny isn't just stuck in a wallet anymore. He is now trapped inside a massive, freezing bank vault with millions of other depressed bills. Without circulation, the concept of wealth simply evaporates. The patient has zero blood pressure. How do we fix this? When consumers refuse to spend and businesses refuse to invest, someone has to step up and open their incredibly massive wallet. Enter the government and the central bank, the lender and spender of absolute last resort. To force Tenny back into the wild, the government will borrow money and spend it on anything. Infrastructure, subsidies, or literally paying people to dig holes and fill them back up. It sounds completely crazy, but the goal is simply to force the heart of the economy to beat again. The paradox of thrift is a cruel joke of mathematics. Personal virtues do not always translate to societal virtues. It's absolutely essential for building your personal wealth and surviving emergencies. But our modern world relies on a delicate, terrifyingly fragile collective illusion. Relies on the absolute faith that tomorrow people will still want to buy things. The economy isn't made of money. It is made of our continuous, unbroken trust in one another. So next time you buy a slightly overpriced coffee, just remember, you aren't wasting money. You are heroically saving the world from total economic collapse. You know what else is a great investment for society? Subscribing to this channel. It costs you $0, keeps our animators fed, and ensures the economic engine keeps turning. Thanks for watching.